My name is Eddie, and I live in rural Mississippi near Money. In 1955, something happened at this grocery store that changed the world forever. On August 27, 1955, 13-year-old Chicago native Emmitt Till was visiting his Uncle Mose. He and his cousins and friends were sitting near the store while Emmett was showing them a picture of his 8th grade class and bragging about a white girl whom he claimed was his girlfriend. One of the boys dared Emmett to go in the store and talk to the white woman who was behind the counter. Emmett promptly got up and went into the store. Shortly after Emmett left the store, a man came out and told Emmett's cousin Curtis that he should get Emmett out of there because he was in big trouble for whistling at that woman at the counter. I went into the store shortly afterwards. Mrs. Bryant, the lady behind the counter, was talking in low, angry tones with her husband Roy. No one knows what really happened in that store, but that action would doom Emmitt Till. That evening I was walking near Emmett's Uncle Mose's house when a car pulled up into the driveway. I hid behind a tree and watched. 2 men got out of the car and went into the house. Pretty soon they came back out accompanied by a young boy. They got into the car and drove off. The next day, Mose Wright, Emmett's uncle, asked me if I'd seen Emmett. For several days search parties looked for Emmett. Finally, they found his body in the river tied to a cotton gin fan. I was helping to pull the body out of the river. The sight of Emmitt Till's body horrified me. He'd been beaten and shot. Emmett's body was shipped back to Chicago for the funeral. The newspapers screamed the nation's shock over his death. Mammy Till, Emmett's mother, insisted on an open casket so that the whole world would see what they had done to her baby. Back in Mississippi, Money was in an uproar. I watched the sheriff take Roy Bryant, the store clerk's husband, and a brother-in-law, J.W. Milan, away in handcuffs. Soon they were put on trial. I remember cramming into that hot and emotion-drenched courtroom to watch the trial. At the end of the trial, it was obvious to me that Bryant and Milan did it, and the jury wouldn't convict them. The courtroom burst into a huge uproar when the not guilty verdict came down. This is so typical of Mississippi. A black person's life is not worth anything. How long can our state go on like this, denying basic justice to a people? A few months later, Roy Bryant and J.W. Milan sold their story to a magazine. They openly admitted beating and killing Emmitt Till because of his arrogant attitude. There are rumblings of a movement in the black communities all over the South. I just heard that a black lady named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat in Birmingham, Alabama to a white man. Maybe justice will come soon.
"'Twas down in Mississippi not so long ago when a young boy from Chicago town walked in a southern door. This boy's fateful tragedy you should all remember well. The color of his skin was black and his name was Emmitt Till. Some men, they dragged him to a barn, and there they beat him up. They said they had a reason, but I disremember what. They tortured him and did some things too evil to repeat. There was screaming sounds inside the barn. There was laughing sounds out on the street. Then they rolled his body down a gulf amidst a blood-red rain, and they threw him in the waters wide to cease his screaming pain. The reason that they killed him there, and I'm sure it ain't no lie, was a black-skinned boy, so he was